Well, now to this, sugar, because the world has a mountain of it at the moment. Brazil is enjoying a bumper harvest, and a weak currency means Brazilian sugar is pouring into the export market. Now, a rise in production of artificial sweeteners from China has also hit global sugar demand, and it all adds up to one thing: plunging prices. Sugar is trading now at its lowest level in 6.5 years. And joining me now is Chris Horseman, who is Editorial Director at Informa Agri. He's in our studios in Tunbridge Wells in the south of England. Thank you so much for joining us, Chris. Look, we've heard a lot about tumbling commodity prices like oil and gold, not so much about sugar. What's going on in the sugar market? It's being driven by Brazil, isn't it?
Yeah, Brazil is by far the world's biggest producer and exporter of sugar. This year it's having an absolutely bumper harvest, which is putting a lot of pressure on already oversupplied markets. But for the past 6 years, really, we've been producing more sugar than we've been consuming globally. 5 of the last 6 years, the world sugar production has set a new record, and so output has just been expanding at a rate that consumption hasn't been able to keep track of in any part of the world, and that has just relentlessly driven the price down.
And so what will that mean for sugar producers? Because there's something else happening that's coming down the track, which is that subsidies for sugar producers in Europe are being phased out, aren't they, in the next couple of years? So what's it going to mean for producers?
Well, in what's happening in Europe is that the sugar production quotas are going to disappear, which means that sugar producers will be able to produce as much as they want. In reality, it probably won't have that much impact on the level of production in Europe, but what it will do, probably more significantly, is that it will also remove the parallel restrictions on production of isoglucose, which is a corn-based product which competes with sugar. And most people are predicting that isoglucose production in Europe will double, admittedly from a fairly low base. So there's going to be more pressure on the sugar market from non-sugar sweetener alternatives. Yeah,
indeed. And China's a big producer of those artificial sweeteners and ramping up fast.
Yes, indeed. Yes, Cambo, the China-based company, is expanding its production of sucralose. It's already said that it's going to expand its production capacity in the United States. So with products like that, isoglucose coming out of Europe and America, and then there's also the stevia, the plant-based natural sweetener, which is starting to gain a toehold in the sweetener market. So sugar has got a lot of competition.
Yeah, indeed. Sweet tooth for all of us. Chris Horseman is Editorial Director at Informa Agri, joining us from the south of England. That's all we've got time for, though, here on World Business Report. Thanks so much for watching. Do stay tuned.